Hi everyone, Magnus here, back again with some more live explained rapid chess. This time we are playing against a 2170 from Serbia, trying to get back, well not back even, but trying to get up to 2500 rapid. So yeah, looks like our opponent was going for the Alpin. I went for the Sicilian, trying to control the center, trying to prevent them from playing this pawn to d4. They want to play this pawn to d4, backed up by their c pawn here, which makes a lot of sense. I developed my knight to attack their center pawn and try and induce it forward. Now I can move my knight over, but now that their pawn has moved all the way over here, firstly, I should take this way, because that's why I put my c pawn here. And I was going to say, secondly, most of the time you play d6 to try and chip away at this e5 pawn, but because they took with the queen, they're immediately attacking my knight, so I'm going to defend my knight with this e pawn here, and then probably just develop my other knight to attack their queen, and also attack the e5 pawn. I do believe that f5 is a fairly standard move in these positions, trying to kick the queen off this e pawn here. But I'm not too familiar with the move bishop to c4. I think this is slightly non-standard, but f5 still looks like a strong move. If they go en passant, I can always take back with the knight. Okay, so maybe knight b6, hit the bishop, queen c7 makes a lot of sense going after the pawn. I think that looks like the logical thing to do. Okay, let's hit the bishop. Bishop goes back to b3. Queen c7 goes after the pawn. Knight f3. Question is, how can I add more pressure to this pawn? And maybe it comes in the form of g6, bishop g7. Or maybe I should even try and play h6, g5 in case of their bishop going to f4. So actually, I might play pawn to g5. No, I can't do that because they'll play queen h5. Like that. Interesting position. Okay, so I know they're going to go knight f3, right? And I've got one attacker. Okay, maybe I'll just bishop e7 castle, and then I'll keep all these ideas in reserve. I think that makes the most sense. Bishop e7 castle, then I'll always have g5, g4. I can go king h1. I've already got this connect here, this connect 3. The only slight issue with my position is this passive bishop, but if I actually want to, I can always play d6, but then that would open up their light squared bishop, so definitely pros and cons to that. I'm thinking g5, g4 looks nice. I'm going to go for it. Let's kick that knight out of the position. Try and get it into d5. Go queen c7. If I can get them to trade with me, that'll be a pretty good thing. I can take back with the pawn, have nice control over this center here, and then I can develop my bishop to a6, where it will be quite an active piece. Okay, so yeah, g5, g4. h3 would be a nice move to see, because then g4 starts to smash up the white position. My king can always hide out on h1 and should be pretty safe. h8, sorry. So not too concerned about king safety here. Now, this might look a little bit brash to just be like pushing these pawns forward. But really, it depends on the position. And I feel like there's just not really enough white pieces that this is a huge problem, my pawn pushing. So I think this is fine. Oh, yeah, okay. So this pawn could get a little bit tender now, potentially. I can also hide behind my bishop here. I could play h5, f5, but I don't think that there's... If my knights were on this side of the board, I would do that, but unfortunately, they are not that central. But there is bishop g5, knight e7, knight g6 as an idea for sure. And I do quite like the look of that. I think I'm going to go bishop g5. This way I can oppose their dark squared bishop, if it ever comes to that. There's always h5 to guard my pawn if they start trying to attack me with with their pawns. But now my knight can try and remaneuver. I'm quite happy, very happy to trade off my bad knight on b6, because now I can play b6 and get my own bishop fianchettoed. Whether I go for a6, b5, I don't really think that makes a whole lot of difference. Probably... Actually, a6, b5 makes sense if I can get their bishop back to b3 or d3. But then again, a6 probably just a4, and then I'll go b6. But now I've got a weak pawn on b6 on a6 for no reason. But at the same time, a4 creates a weakness on b3. Maybe knight a5 could be played as well. So actually, I think I am going to go for a6. Try and play this b5 push and get my bishop fianchettoed on this long diagonal where it's actually really well supported by all these pawns, and it will just be an absolute beast, hopefully, on b7. So if I can get this trade here, I'd very much like them to take me, but if they don't take me, this bishop on g5 is a great piece. So either way, I'm pretty happy. Okay, so we got a nice knight. It has a way into the game if I want to get it like that. If I could get my bishop to c6 and my knight to g6, trade off this bishop, I think my pieces will be really, really harmonious and work together nicely. Knight comes into f4. All of a sudden, bishop, knight teaming up on the g2 pawn. That could be really nice. Okay, so my queen's now active, is now in the game. And they want to trade queens with me. I don't know. I don't really want to trade queens. I'm thinking queen g7, hit the pawn. Makes sense. Because they're going to have to go defend it somehow, probably with their queen. And my pawns are more advanced. I'm the guy that's looking to attack you. Also, my queen on g7 supports the d7 pawn, so that after I push my pawn and get my bishop out, like this position looks great, honestly. It looks amazing. Yeah, like my bishop's coming here, my knight's coming here. Where's their knight going to go? Doesn't have any jumps. Their knight's going to be totally restricted. So let's get the bishop out, and then I'm just going to start remaneuvering my knight into f4. If I can induce them to play g3, huge weakness for my monster bishop here. My queen can try and sneak in on this side. And I can even try and push the pawns. There might be some like knight stack ideas, so that could be great. Okay. I'm thinking, yeah, definitely 97 looks amazing. Let's open up this bishop. Super strong bishop here. Their bishop walled in by my pawns. My bishop, absolute beast on b7. Now this knight's just going to hop, hop, hop into the position. Let's unleash the queen as the defender. Rook f7, always on the table. Or rook d8. My rooks, I don't really think, have to play a huge role in this game. They can mostly play a defensive role, just support the pawn chain and keep everything nice and tight. Okay, my bishop has now been fully unleashed. I'm thinking bishop f3 does straight up just win the exchange. So that's probably a good idea. At the very least, I mean, do I actually want the exchange? That's the question. This move wins material. But let's say I go here, queen here. I'd probably play f4. So let's just play this move, see where their queen goes. That's generally a good idea. I mean, it can't be a bad move. I am winning material by force if I want. And also, with all my pawns on the light squares, I mean, I really don't know if this light squared bishop's better than the rook. I think it probably is. So I'm thinking if their queen doesn't go back to f1, then I'll take... If their queen goes to f1, I'll take the rook. If their queen doesn't go to f1, I would consider moves like queen to h6. Actually, queen d2 stops queen h6 as well. But now f4 looks nice. Also, just knight takes. Looks super good. So let's see. Knight takes. Sack the rook takes. Queen takes. Rook d8. That's game over. So let's go for that. Yeah, knight takes in the center. Then I'm threatening to take. Get my knight into this square. I mean, this is just total collapse for my opponent. Their whole position is just falling at the seams. I mean, the knight's guarding the pawn. You can't even take it. So I'm going to capture this guy. Hits the bishop there. If they want to take, I will now capture your bishop. and there's really nothing more for them to do. I'm cracking through on the king side as well. Yeah, this looks over. Okay, they're giving me this f3 check, which I don't necessarily have to go for. But let's see. Here, take. What are you going to do? Something like this. f4, take. That loses the queen, so that's probably not very smart. Okay. Probably just knight back to g6, try and push through the pawns. Let's do that. I mean, their knight's still walled out. This f pawn's going to start coming. I'll support the g4 pawn with h5 first. Just to make sure I'm not losing any pawns. Okay, well, when their knight jumps in, they're still just walled in by the pawns. I really don't think this is too impressive for them. I'm going to start trying to open up my rook, and everything should be going well. So yeah, let's open up the rook. I'll capture, stack the rooks, and smash the king. I don't see a defense. I mean, maybe there probably is a defense, like something to make it a little bit harder, but I'm sure that black is totally winning as far as the position goes. Okay, they're probably gonna like sack something at this some point, but I'm just gonna take first because you can't really do that much damage while I'm threatening to fork you and take a queen, make a queen. I think I might play king h8 just to get out of the way. Although rook f6 guards and pins, so that's probably good enough. Yeah, let's go rook f6, pinning everything so that now if you were to do some sack, then there would be a pin on your queen. Also preps the other rook to come in and start breaking the position. Knight h4 is now on the cards with g3 maybe in the future. e5, no, e5 is illegal. Trying to come up with some other moves. Yeah, probably just stack the rooks. Stack the rooks. No one cares about this a6 pawn or the b5 pawn. They're pretty much irrelevant. I'm just gonna like come for the king. Okay, my opponent is trying and struggling to find a move. I guess they wanted the queen sack previously, maybe. Don't really know. Okay, so they're trying to actually defend. I might play h4. Just gonna play h4, trying to get some squares for my knight. And you might as well try and add more pressure to this pawn so that I'm threatening to capture it, open up the king, expose even more. I'm not necessarily going to take, I just want to get my knight involved and then potentially take in the future. It's just really adding pressure, and I don't want to be, there's no reason that I need to commit my rook to f8 just yet and sack the house. I'll postpone that for one more move, but I reckon next move with the addition of h4 it's just got to be even stronger. So I think I'll be getting ready to sack the house. Maybe I'll play a couple more preparation moves like king h8. Just take things slow. I don't see how my opponent can do a whole lot to cause me any harm. I got all the time in the world to just improve the position, and yeah, this is a nice slow attack. Some attacks is really important, tempo for tempo. You got to make them count. This kind of attack, I feel like I can just do whatever I want and play all the improving moves, and only need to strike when I'm fully ready. And I think king h8 is just a nice move to get out of any kind of trouble that could happen on this e6 pawn. Because once I choose to give up all this material, I'm gonna be Like on this side of the board, I'm also going to be moving my queen away, my rook away, and then these pawns will hang, and also this rook would no longer be defending the pawn. Okay. Seems like an obvious capture to me. Let's take. Because now, after the recapture, my rook comes in. I'm threatening a mate in two. So let's say here they take. Let's give a check. King up. Check. Doesn't make a difference if they go there or there. Either way, they're going to h3. Queen h6. You have to block with the rook. And, I mean, that just loses. So let's bring the rook. The knight will be guarding h4 in the final position. And that should be all there is to it. The rook has to move back, probably. Passive move to make. Not the kind of move you want to make. And then, even then, my queen's coming in. I can, like, sack the rook some positions. Queen e3. Like, king g2, you know. Queen d2. Yeah, like, king moves back. That's not quite good enough, to be honest. So here, I still feel like queen h6 is strong. But queen h6 does give queen d2. And then, yeah, I was going to say, like, this looks good. But with all these pawns hanging, it might not be the best. So maybe moves like rook f7, king h8 can be played after rook e1. Just slow moves. Yeah. Knights out of squares. Got all the pawns on the light squares to oppose their light squared bishop. Queen looks active, but isn't really doing anything unless you want to start taking these pawns. But if you start taking the pawns, there's a mate in 2, which I'm threatening. So you have to go rook e1 or rook e2, I guess. But rook e2, I've just got this. Like, I can sack, and then I don't even know. Maybe not. Probably rook e2 then. I guess they're gonna flag. Yeah, just resigns. Okay, fair enough. Good game to my opponent. Let's take a quick look at the analysis here. I think it was a decent game. Okay, it wasn't bad. I played 87 accuracy, they played 80 accuracy, but it was fairly smooth once we got the advantage. Let's take a look. So this is all theory. My knight comes out, hitting their queen. And f5 is apparently a bad move. Now it's weird, because normally I know that after knight f3, there is knight c6, and then like queen e4 or something, or queen g4, and then f5, and then like queen e2. And I know that there's this line is good for black, and you play like b5. But I didn't really know that much about bishop c4. So apparently the best move here is knight d to e7, and then you go d5. That's interesting. Or no, you don't even go d5. You play knight g6. And you just start harassing this pawn with queen c7, d6, f6, d5, whatever. That's interesting. That is definitely interesting. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind for next time. But okay. So f5 actually mistake after queen to e2, I guess because in the other positions generally their bishop is already on f1 and then they're having to fianchetto, but in this one you've got more pressure on my knight. So okay, so this is all fine. G5 gets crazy. G5 is no good. I should have gone queen c7. I was just too tempted. Yeah, and they should have gone forward. If they went to the center, I guess I was just going to play like bishop g5. And I was expecting something like takes, takes, takes. And then I would take with the b pawn. And I thought this position actually looked really solid. With my bishop coming out to a6 and a5 on the way. And I am correct that apparently this is good. Like this f pawn's nice, my queen's well placed. But apparently they don't have to take. And if the knight just goes to d2, he's getting into the d6 square. So that could have gone a little bit sketchy. F5, yeah, 3. So this was all just okay. But then after this, looks like, yeah, A6 is not that bad. Queen G7. I think it was a good idea to decline the queen trade. And then from here on out, like, it was basically smooth sailing. Like, the position was just falling apart for my opponent. Yeah. Nice slow moves, making sure everything's defended. My opponent resigns, fair enough. I was thinking rook e2 might be your only shot here, but rook f1 here was the win. Just queen h6, queen h1. Yeah, that's quite findable. I was thinking queen h6 in some other lines, but I hadn't quite registered this one. And if rook e1, which was the only other move that I was suggesting, apparently queen f7's game over. You set up the triple stack, Aliekin's gun. That's nice. Okay, so that was a pretty good game. I hope you guys enjoyed it, found something useful within that game. If you did, please do consider liking and subscribing. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.